Hello, today we have Tony Jennings, CEO of Everything Blockchain, with us here in the studio. Tony, welcome.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Everything Blockchain, revolutionizing database technology using proprietary blockchain technologies. Let's start with a brief overview of Everything Blockchain and its product portfolio.
What we're doing at Everything Blockchain is blending database security with blockchain with zero trust data security to really develop disruptive new ways to store data, manage data, and protect data. We do that through 3 lines of business today. We do that through EBAdvise, EBBuild, EBControl, and I'll just talk to you for a second about each one of those. EBAdvise, as the name implies, is our advisory service. It's where customers will come to us potentially with a use case or a business problem that they feel like blockchain can solve. It will sort of be their blockchain Sherpa to help them get to a solution, help them understand where the blockchain, and particularly our blockchain, will help them solve their problem. And we're really not looking to build project-based revenue out of this. What we're really looking to do, and we're very picky with our EBAdvise projects, what we're really looking to do is help customers solve a problem that ultimately lead to recurring revenue for us on the back end. So that's what we want to be as a company, is really be all about recurring revenues and things of this nature. We are a technology company after all. So that's EBAdvise. EBBuild is our proprietary patent-pending blockchain platform. Again, it's a very different type of a blockchain where it's private, highly secure, very performant, very resilient. So very different than your typical blockchains that you see out there. Again, focused on problems that really exist in very large businesses that have very large data sets and have data that really needs to be kept secure in a self-healing sort of a blockchain at very large scale. The business model there, quite frankly, is as you would expect from a software company: subscription fees, transaction fees, revenue share, and of course a big go-to-market element for us will be technology licensing to other technology companies that may need this to be an element of their solutions as well. Finally, we have EBControl. That is our patented now zero trust data protection solution. It really exists to help people share data outside of their secure network and know that I can absolutely control that data no matter where it goes forever. If I send you a file, for instance, it's going to verify that you are Craig. It's going to know that you are in the right location because I might have decided to geofence your data. It's going to decide if you're in an authorized timeline. I might have said, hey, you've got a week or 2 weeks or a month to look at this. Then you won't be able to view it anymore. Or I might have decided yesterday that I want to revoke your access in real time. And then finally, of course, we can invoke data rights management, meaning that I can ask you, Craig, I can enforce data rights management on you in such a way that you can read it only, but you can't forward it, copy it, print it, or save it. So that's really what EBControl is all about. And again, we've taken those elements, those business units in a whole to really be able to come up with this brand new way to store data, protect data, and manage data as well.
Tony, you've really captured my attention, and I think our audience's attention, with that description of what Everything Blockchain does. Can we concretize it a little bit? Give us an example, maybe a case study of one of your customers and how you serve them.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. As you can imagine, the use cases for this are endless. Any application today that is using a traditional database to store data is a candidate for us to go in and displace, particularly when the data stored in that database needs to be secure, it needs to be tamper-proof, it needs to be immutable. Let me give you a specific use case, though, I think that you'll find interesting in the net zero space. So imagine having an energy company that obviously they're all concerned about getting to net zero over the next decade or so. Imagine continuing to develop oil, develop energy, and you have production equipment in the field where you have sensors that are basically looking for and measuring greenhouse gases that are coming off that production equipment, right? So if you need to prove that you're getting to net zero, if you've got regulatory bodies that you've got to report to, then you need a couple things to happen. One is you really like that data to be stored in a way that can be proven to be tamper-proof. It's immutable. It can't be changed. So you can prove that it actually did come from where you say it's going to come from, and it hasn't been tampered with, right? So we'll use the case again of these production wells where you have IoT devices that are operating in real time and throwing a heck of a lot of data off of. A traditional blockchain, for instance, you want to store it in that blockchain because, again, the data, you know the data that goes in there, you can prove that it's not been tampered with. But the problem with using blockchain traditionally is that it's not performant. It moves very slow. You're adding blocks in minutes instead of adding blocks in milliseconds like we do. So we're operating it really in near real time. And so imagine being able to take data off of an IoT device across this production equipment, shove it into a database, in this case, a blockchain database, and then when it comes time to report kind of where you're really at, when it comes time to forecast the sort of emissions you'll have off of a new production rigs and things of this nature, you have a reliable way to basically go to the regulatory bodies to prove to your shareholders, to show others that the data is real and hasn't been tampered with, and is something that can be relied on.
It's truly zero trust, and show me something that we can rely on, and you guys are attacking that problem.
That's what it's all about. When we talk about a new way to store data, manage data, and protect data, that's exactly what we're talking about. Being able to do it at scale with this sort of security, immutability, and resiliency.
I'm just wondering, how big is the market opportunity you're addressing?
That's an interesting question, and you can slice and dice that several ways. When I put my investor hat, I'm thinking about people, I'm thinking about markets, I'm thinking about products. So on the market side, I want to know there's a big addressable market. So I can say, yeah, we're going after the blockchain market, and yeah, it's maybe 4 or 5 billion in size today based on who you talk to and what you read. But I would say that if we really identify ourselves more with the next generation database company. So if I'm going to go and disrupt the database space, now I'm talking about a $100 to $150 billion market. So what, 20x the size of the blockchain market? So any way you slice it and dice it, we also do the data protection. That's another 25 billion. So any way you slice it and dice it, what I want investors and people interested in the company to understand is this is a huge addressable market for us.
Now, it's a huge addressable market. It's also somewhat new, and you're trying new things, I'm sure, here. You've got some proof of concept programs underway, both with your current customers and with potential customers.
Yes.
Tell us about some of that.
Yeah, sure. So any company that's bringing new, exciting technology to the market, obviously one of the first things you want to do is you've got to establish credibility in the market, which typically means I've got to get reference customers. I call them lighthouse customers. You've got to get those customers so that they can kind of sing your praises. When you have those successes, they're going to tell their friends. They're going to work with my marketing department, things like that. We're fortunate in this case. Oftentimes, when you bring in new technology to market, you typically do lighthouse sorts of engagements with smaller companies, maybe people that are willing to, engage, be early adopters, for instance. We're really fortunate in this particular case with everything blockchain, though, to really be doing proofs of concept and having projects early on with Fortune 100 companies, airlines, energy companies, government. So in that aspect, I feel really excited and really fortunate that we're able to do POCs that, in my experience, are kind of rather out of the ordinary for a company at this stage.
If I'm the CEO of a major company, I want my database to be safe. I don't want it being broken into. You've got these proofs of concept. You've got these current potential customers. What I want to know is, what our audience wants to know is, how do you make money out of it? How do you actually generate revenue?
Well, again, we're a technology company, plain and simple. We're a software company, so we make money off subscription fees, just like you would for any other typical software package today. Although we do have customers that want a perpetual license, kind of the old-fashioned way, where you pay a big sum up front, and then there's maintenance fees and whatnot. But typically for us, it's going to be subscription fees, number one. Depending on who the customer is, what the use case is, there could be transaction fees involved. There could be some revenue sharing going on. And ultimately, I think one of our big routes to market is going to be licensing our technology to other technology companies where they think that we can be additive, or 1 + 1 = 3. So, and I think that'll be a big revenue stream and a big channel for us as well.
Tony, this story is so interesting. I want to turn now to management. Of any company and of any small cap company, management is huge. But I would say, especially in your case, with your technology, with the newness of what you're trying to do, management matters very much. Tell us about some of the key players on your team.
Happy to do that. Obviously, we're a technology company, and so one of the first things you want to look at is, well, who are your technology leaders? Well, we're very fortunate that we have two of the best technologists on the planet. You have Brandon Hart, who is heading up our Zero Trust Data Protection Solution, crypto expert, Zero Trust expert. Won't find a better technologist in that space on the planet. Cedric Harris is our blockchain guy. When I say our blockchain guy, though, he's a unique individual in that not only do you have to know blockchain to do what we do, you've got to be a database architect. You've got to be a network architect. There's just a number of things. You've got to probably know 10 or 11 different programming languages. So we just are fortunate we have two of the best on the planet that are heading up our technology and solutions development. Of course, business matters as well. We've got a CFO that has a ton of public company experience, which obviously matters to us, particularly as we contemplate uplisting to the NASDAQ over the next several quarters. And I'll just say across the team in general, we've got guys that this is not their first rodeo. They've been through many, many successful exits, decades of experience both in industry and business across the team.
I see you're a very polite individual, Tony, and that you have omitted yourself. Tell us a little bit about Tony Jennings.
What is there to say? Well, I've been kind of blessed in my career. Obviously, my background is I'm an ex-Air Force captain. That's how I got my start initially in cybersecurity. Actually spent a little time in Desert Storm back when that was going on, was actually deployed to do a cyber operation in theater at that time. Then left the military with some of my military friends. We started my very first company back in 1995, a company called Wheel Group Corporation. We essentially were the first entry into what's now called the intrusion detection space. So we're the first ones there. Just spent about 3 years building that company, sold it to Cisco Systems for a very nice number, and which was great. I mean, it's kind of spoils you when you have a home run like that right out of the gates. Then I went off and raced cars for a little while. Was a professional race car driver and did pretty well at that as well. Won a lot of races, but eventually decided it was time to go back and be a tax-paying citizen again. And so since then, through my venture capital network, through my business network, et cetera, have been fortunate to be able to be a CEO of another 6 companies in addition to the very first one I did. So I've been very fortunate to be able to have that sort of experience working with great teams. I'm now landed everything blockchain and probably more excited about the opportunity here than any other company I've been involved with.
For our audience, why should an investor take an interest in everything blockchain right now?
I think I can answer that pretty simply in that, again, when I put my investor hat on, and just like many in the audience, I invest as well. When I'm looking at a tech company in particular, I'm looking at really 3 things. I'm looking at the team. Can the team pull it off? Have they been there before? Have they encountered the obstacles that inevitably pop up when you do a company like this? Then I'm looking at the market. Is there really a market for the product, or is there a problem that's big enough that you're solving that someone will scratch a check for it? That's the way I like to think about it. So, is there a real problem in the market? Is it a sizable market? And then finally, of course, you've got to have technology that will solve the problem, that is differentiated with intellectual property that you can protect and that is defensible. And so those are the things I look at as an investor, and I think we have all those ingredients here at Everything Blockchain. Obviously, I feel that way, or I wouldn't be here myself.
It is a great story, Tony. Thank you for driving over here today and sharing it with us.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Thanks so much.